All right, we're back with part two, the Winter Solstice part two, Avatar Roku. This is the second parter, first official two-parter episode. It's also the first time in the show that we get the now famous previously on Avatar flashback sections that after season two, we're going to get basically every episode. But this is the first time it's used here, and I will admit I always love it. I always love the voice when he talks, and I know it's a little Britishy, but it's not too British. But yeah, this episode is really good too. It doesn't have quite the same like subtleties that part one did, but this is another really good episode. And it's good in different ways too. Just a second, very sorry. Give me 1 second here. I promise I will talk about what I need to, but I actually took a lot of notes and I sort of want to do this. Yeah, I don't know. So in this episode, Team Avatar has left the village and they're traveling to this island in the Fire Nation where they have to make contact with Avatar Roku. But of course, being in enemy territory, this comes with a tremendous amount of risks. And this is the episode two where I think I might have mentioned it before, but the dynamics of the characters are also getting really well refined too. I love this main trio. I'm terribly sorry. Like the main trio is really good in this episode. They've been good previously, but it kind of always felt a little chess piece and mechanical like. Whereas this one, they really feel like they're a group that like each other. They want to help each other out. And I should mention too, I've always kind of been a fan of that character dynamic where it's like the brother sister duo and then the outsider who comes in, a la the 1999 Mummy movie. I really like it there, and I like it here too. I really like how these people work off of each other. I like too how Katara and Sokka are siblings, but they don't just fight all the time. They do genuinely care about each other. They care about Aang. It's just the show really is just getting better and better with every episode, isn't it? Like it's now just so hit its stride, and I'm so glad it did because I was a little concerned this wasn't going to hold up as well as I thought when I started this, but I'm getting real excited actually. And we're only like not even halfway through the first season, so this is optimistic everyone. Speaking of returns, this is the first episode to where Zhao came back. I actually was kind of surprised that there was almost 5 episodes where he didn't make a single appearance, especially given how much he has to do it at the end of season 1. So yeah, he's back. Jason Isaacs is back. It's always good to have him around. And on top of that, the first third of this episode actually has a really great action scene where the gang is flying on Appa into the Fire Nation. It turns out not only are they being chased by Zuko, but there's a blockade of Fire Navy ships that they have to get over, and they're constantly being shot at. And it's a really good action scene. Like I can't say it's one of the great animated action sequences, but it was just a lot of fun. It was really cool to see. It's one of those things where if you have a big TV, it actually looks really awesome. Like for a television show, some of the sequences in this are pretty damn good. Like they're pretty epic. So the action scene's good. There's kind of a little touch where Zuko is firing at Aang, and he only can use the garbage that the ship produces, which is kind of a funny detail showing that he is on his own. Like he doesn't have the resources that the Fire Nation Navy has. So that was kind of a nice little touch. And then they arrive on this crescent island, which is the Temple of the Avatar, which is a little weird because the Temple of the Avatar mostly focuses on Roku, but they make it clear that in the past the temple was kind of a sacred place in the Fire Nation where the Fire Sages, which is this group of kind of monk-esque people, they're not really monks, but it's sort of a religious, spiritual place that used to honor the Avatar, but in the years since the war started, they've had to abandon the spirituality and sacredness of the location to basically support the Fire Nation and serve the Fire Lord, which I really like. Like the show does very good at kind of inserting these little nuggets, not only of world building, but of good commentary on real world issues. Like, I don't know exactly what to make of this, but I do kind of like how it is a little bit of propaganda and how sometimes a greater good cause is sometimes thrown to the side for the sake of the ego and the crazy fanaticism of the state. I don't exactly know what that's saying, but I do like what it does. Maybe it's a commentary on something that more so happened in the past, but I really like this. There's only one sage too in this episode who is still loyal to the Avatar world, while the others are very much loyal to the Fire Lord. Because when Aang shows up, they say, "We are the guardians of the temple of the Avatar." Well, great, I am the Avatar. We know. And then they attack him. But there's one who not only holds his duty to the Avatar as very important, but he's willing to go against the sages. He even says the line, "I knew I would have to betray the other sages," which is a great line, by the way. Again, the animation and the architecture in this episode is really great. The whole temple is situated on top of an active volcano, so you get to play a red light filter in the background, which leads to some really great imagery. Again, the animation is great. It's just really cool stuff. There's another scene too I really like that kind of shows more that again, I don't know the proper word for it, but there's a door that leads to the sanctuary with the Avatar Roku statue, and it's got 5 heads on it that you have to firebend into in order to open. It's kind of like the air temple in the the air temple at the Southern Air Temple episode, where you had to use airbending to get into it. You have to use firebending to get into this one. And at first I thought the heads on the door were dragon heads, because that's kind of a motif with the Fire Nation. They're all about dragons because, dragons breathe fire, Fire Nation dragons. You get it, but they're actually, I look closer and they're actually lion turtles. I know that sounds weird, mostly because you don't know what a lion turtle is, but that's kind of a subtle little bit of foreshadowing into the future of the show, where it turns out these lion turtles, I'll explain it more when I get there, but lion turtles are these ancient creatures that are kind of largely forgotten, but very important to the unity of the world. And I like how in the temple, the heads to get in this fire temple sanctuary are lion turtles and not dragons. I thought that was a clever little touch. This is also the first appearance of Avatar Roku, who will be a regular. Like, he's not physically present because, again, he is dead. It is Aang talking to his spirit. But for starters, I love the voice of Roku. He's played by a guy named James Garrett, who's very much a bit actor. Like, this is probably the most famous thing he's ever been in. Apparently he's been in some other stuff. Oh, he was Alfred in some of the animated Batman movies. Does a good job there. But here, I love his voice. It's very deep, legato, subtly British. It's a great voice. Previously on Avatar, or "It's good to see you, Aang. What took you so long?" I just love it. It's a great voice, and Roku, for the most part, is a pretty great character. And in this, in this particular scene, he talks to Aang about how there's a comet that's coming, that 100 years ago, Fire Lord Sozin used it to begin the war and deal a deadly first strike against the other nations. And when the comet's going to return this year, Fire Lord Ozai is going to use it to basically end the war once and for all and potentially destroy all the other nations. So Aang has to, in less than a year, basically master the elements, become a fully realized avatar, because if not, the world is doomed. Again, great pressure on Aang, wonderful stuff. Zuko and Zhao eventually find the island through a little bit of trickery, which I won't really go into here, but a great little bit of trickery in this episode. And it leads to another scene that I don't know if it was intentional when they wrote the episode, but it kind of plays into Roku's later established extremism. Like, I know this is a bit of a weird stretch because it happens, like, not even so much in the series proper, but it's more so in the graphic novels, which... Hang on. I got those too. But by the way, if you can read these things, these are actually really good. If you like the show, you'll love these graphic novels. Anyway, there's a bit in the graphic novels where it shows that Roku was, even though he's the good guy, he is a bit extreme in kind of his approach to certain elements. Like, in this scene, he merges with Aang to kind of become a single person so he can fight off, Zhao and Zuko and get Team Avatar off the island. But in doing so, he also destroys the temple. Now, the temple in the past, of course, has been dedicated to all avatars, but in this moment, Roku, almost out of vendetta, destroys it. And I don't know if that was intentional, but I thought that was actually a really nice little touch. Intentional or not, again, one of the reasons this episode's even better now that I'm watching it now. The only thing I'll say last is this episode ends on a really good shot, but a moment I don't know how I feel. So it's Appa, Team Avatar flying into the moon, and then, Katara hugs Aang. And that's a moment I was always like, did you really need to show that? But it is a really great shot. So yeah, this was a really good episode. I was kind of very pleasantly surprised at just how good this episode was. And from this point on, it's honestly only going to get better, with some exceptions. We'll get to them. And with that said, till next time, onwards and upwards, my friends.